Hello and welcome. Tonight, Abuja-Kaduna train route to come alive again. Minister of Transportation sets November date, and this is coming after 7 months of closure following terrorist attack. Chief Justice of the Federation warns against acts of recklessness and abuse of power by election tribunals. As INEC chairman says, it has been joined in over 600 cases relating to nomination of candidates for the 2023 elections. Former Deputy Senate President Ikekweremaddu's wife Beatrice and daughter Sonia make appearance in UK court, where the senator's trial over alleged organ harvesting has been brought forward to January 31st, 2023. Plus, House of Representatives Niger Delta Caucus calls for sack or resignation of Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Sadiya Umar Farouk over flood impacted states. Train services on the Abuja-Kaduna rail line is set to resume this month. The Minister of Transportation, Mr. Muazu Sambo, disclosed this while presenting the scorecard of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in the transportation sector since 2015. Service along the Abuja-Kaduna route was suspended following attack by gunmen on a Kaduna-bound train at Katari in Kaduna State, which led to the death of 8 passengers and the abduction of over 100 passengers. Our correspondent Emperor Simon reports.
The Minister of Transportation, Mr. Muazu Sambo, is the second guest to feature in the second edition of the PMB Scorecard 2015 to 2023 series, launched in October to showcase the achievement of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, who is the host, begins the conversation with an address on how the ruling All Progressives Congress plans to campaign for the 2023 general elections.
The opposition is quick to point to some economic indices like the Naira exchange rate and inflation. But the truth is that if they were the ones confronted with having to fight a once-in-a-century pandemic, 2 economic recessions, and low oil prices, Nigeria would have had no economy to even talk about. Gentlemen, we have a lot of achievements to highlight and campaign with.
Next is the Minister of Transportation, who gives the scorecard of his ministry, cutting across the rail infrastructure, inland waterways, and the development of ports, including the Lekki Deep Sea Port, which he says will commence operation before the end of the year.
The Buhari administration also considered and approved the development of the Badagry Deep Sea Port, which upon completion would have about 2.5 kilometers of quay length container terminal, half a kilometer quay length of break bulk terminal, 360 meters quay length of OSB terminal, and a minimum 18-meter draft. It is also expected to generate 250,000 direct jobs.
On March the 28th this year, scores of armed men attacked a train along the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, killing at least 8 passengers and abducting over 100 others. The development forced the Nigerian Railway Corporation to suspend train services on the Abuja-Kaduna route as security agencies and the government worked to secure the release of the kidnapped victims from captivity. A month ago, the last batch of 23 of the kidnapped victims were released, following which the Ministry of Transportation says services on the Abuja-Kaduna train line will now resume.
Lessons have been learned, and these lessons will be put into place. What are the lessons? Safety and security, surveillance, constant monitoring, 24/7, 7 days a week, 12 months a year, all round clock. The minister should be able to sit in his office and look at the rail corridor and see what is happening there. The president should be able to do that. The Director General of the SSS should be able to do that, and so on, and all other security agencies. These are the measures we have put in place. And this month of November, we shall resume that service.
No specific date is given for the resumption, and as Channels Television pressed for more details, the Ministers of Information and that of Transportation react this way.
From which media?
Channels Television.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What date in November specifically is the Abuja train service expected to resume?
I have answered the question inside, my brother. And I think you are the same person who asked.
The Abuja-Kaduna train service would resume in November. Would like to know specifically what date in November.
You ought to hear a word. I don't tell you, you ought to hear a word.
Although the federal government assures of safety of passengers, it's not certain what the patronage by Nigerians will look like when the Abuja-Kaduna train services resume. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
We'll move to the judiciary now, where the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has warned members of the 2023 election petition tribunals that he will not condone any act of recklessness and abuse of power as they discharge their duties relating to the 2023 general elections. The CJN, who read the Riot Act at the swearing-in ceremony for members of the 2023 election petition tribunals, also urged the judicial officers to conduct their affairs within the ambit of the law.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, administering the oath of office on 277 members of the 2023 election petition tribunals at the National Judicial Institute in Abuja.
And I will do right to all manner of people.
These judicial officials will head the various election tribunals across the nation to dispense justice in cases that would arise from the conduct of the 2023 general elections, a task that the country's Chief Justice wants the officers to treat with all seriousness.
This is not an undertaking to be handled with levity. It is a solemn pledge between your lordships and your Creator.
The Chief Justice further warns the judicial officers against compromising and other actions that could bring the judiciary to disrepute.
I can confidently tell you that this is a weighty undertaking you have just signed before the Almighty God. I am saying this because, as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, I will not condone any act of recklessness, abuse of power, and public trust. This is a rare privilege, and your lordships must give a good account of yourselves.
A judicial electoral manual is then unveiled. It's a document that the Chief Justice of Nigeria and the President of the Court of Appeal hope will enable members of the Election Petition Tribunal to discharge their duties effectively and reduce conflicting judgments.
In order to forestall the incidences of conflicting judgments and rulings which tribunals and courts have experienced in time past, we have also developed a case management system. The case management system will facilitate research purposes and will guide against conflicting decisions of courts of ordinate jurisdiction.
It's less than 4 months to the commencement of the 2023 general elections, and the electoral umpire and members of the civil society organizations at this event underscore the critical role of the judiciary.
So far, we have been joined in about 600 cases relating to the conduct of recent primaries and nomination of candidates for the 2023 general election. The job of the politician is intensely partisan. Our job, INEC and the judiciary, requires absolute neutrality.
We're looking towards the 2023 general elections, and the eyes will be clearly focused on the judiciary as we see the elections conducted and the judiciary play its role in adjudicating free, fair, and credible judicial interventions.
According to the electoral umpire, a total of 30 elections were overturned by the tribunals in 2019, an improvement compared to the over 100 elections that were overturned by election petition tribunals in 2015.
To party politics now. The People's Democratic Party has flagged off its governorship campaign in Benue State, with the leader of the G5 governors, Mr. Nyesom Wike, of Rivers State, urging leaders of the party to ensure the victory of its governorship candidate, Mr. Titus Uba. Governor Nyesom Wike, who made the call after the G5 governors commissioned key projects in Makadi, the capital, before joining the campaign flag-off at the IBB Square, says the G5 governors consider Mr. Otom a dependable and loyal friend, hence all hands must be on deck to support him to secure victory for the PDP in the state. Well, in the meantime, the party's national chairman, Mr. Yocha Ayu, who is from Benue State, was conspicuously absent.
Residents of Ugondo in Makadi are gathered to witness the commissioning of key road projects and electricity in their community. Soon, the convoy of Governor Samuel Otom and his group of G5 governors, led by Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, arrived for the commissioning. The 14-kilometer Ayuanom Road and 4 others commissioned by Governors Wike, Ikpeazu, Ugwai and Makinde, according to Governor Otom, is a great feat.
Today's occasion is to prove to skeptics and those people who think that we cannot achieve this, that yes, in Benue State, we are not just ensuring security for lives and property, but we are also ensuring that we add value for our own dear people. In the name of God the Father, amen. God the Son, amen. And God the Holy Spirit, amen.
After the commissioning of the roads and 2 electricity projects, attention shifts to the IBB Square for the flag-off of the PDP governorship campaign.
Congratulations!
The Benue governorship candidate, Right Honorable Titus Uba, who is the current Speaker of the State Assembly, and his running mate are presented the party flag.
Thank you.
The Benue caucus at the National Assembly then addresses the gathering, as Senator Gabriel Suswam had this to say.
We will have our internal problems, but I believe that you people are great Nigerians who can solve the problem that we have. I don't think that problem should be allowed to consume all of us. By the grace of God, our governor is a child of God, will be able to join hands together with his colleagues to solve the problem that we have.
The G5 governors had good words for Governor Otom.
Your governor is a man who believes in his people. Your governor is a man who can die for his people. Your governor is a man who will never change for whatever it takes, because he believes first that Benue must survive.
I've heard the candidates, I've heard many of you speak here and say that Benue is PDP and PDP is Benue. Not be so.
The Benue State PDP campaign is now flagged off as supporters look forward to the 2023 general elections.
In part two, after the break, we have more on party politics. Plus, House of Representatives Niger Delta Caucus calls for sack or resignation of Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadiya Omar Farouk, over flood impacted states. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Abuja-Kaduna train route to resume. Minister of Transportation sets November deadline. Chief Justice of Federation warns against acts of recklessness and abuse of power by election tribunals, as INEC chairman says it has been adjourned in over 600 cases relating to nomination of candidates for the 2023 elections. Former Deputy Senate President Ike Kwere-Mmadụ's wife Beatrice and daughter Sonia make appearance in UK court, where the senator's trial over alleged organ harvesting has been brought forward to January 31st, 2023. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres asked leaders to either work together now to cut emissions or condemn future generations to climate catastrophe. Continue with party politics. The presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, says he will revamp the agricultural sector for optimal performance if elected president in next year's general election. The APC flag bearer made the promise today when he met with farmers and the northern agro-commodity groups in a town hall meeting in Minna, the Niger State capital.
Promise you that commodity exchange will start immediately you elect me the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's why I can stand before you and say yes. Be reassured as farmers that the protection is here. The help has arrived. Cast your vote. Cast your vote for APC. The future is assured. Find your PVC. No other doubt that you should have in your mind. Irrigation to protect your farming produce will be made available to you without asking further. Bank of Agriculture will be scheduled, reviewed, and instructed to apply to you on a priority basis. Nigeria will prosper. To animal husbandry, dairy food, for education, healthy bones, healthy body, healthy brain will be given a priority. And we will stop destroying our export potential.
Meanwhile, the ANAP Foundation has commissioned yet another opinion poll within this 2023 election cycle, but this time it's for 5 governorship elections, and it was conducted by NOI polls. The 5 states include Kwara in the North Central region, Kano in the Northwest, Abia in the Southeast, Rivers in the South-South, and Lagos in the Southwest. In Kwara State, the incumbent governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of the APC, is in the lead with a 30% ahead of the PDP Shuaibu Abdullahi with 11%. The APC is second place in Kano State in the poll, while Abba Yusuf of the NNPP takes the lead with a 29% approval of the people who took part in the poll, saying if election was to be conducted at the time, they will be voting for the NNPP flag bearer. Labour Party's Alex Ote tops the poll in Abia State, while PDP's Simni Lai Fubara at River State comes first above APC's Tonya Cole with 14% poll in his favour, against 11% of the second place, Mr. Cole. In Lagos, the incumbent governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, leads with a wide margin above the PDP candidate, Olajide Adediran, with an approval poll percentage of 30 to 8%.
Lagos State Governor Jide Sanwo-Olu has a lead that might be unassailable, especially as the opposition votes are fragmented. So he has 2 major opponents, PDP and Labour Party, and the 2 of them appear to be splitting the opposition votes. While he has 30%, PDP has 8%, and Labour Party 4%. The candidates and across the senatorial zones is in front in all 3. So you can see that with this 30%, there's a gap of 22%. It's not completely unassailable, but the undecided vote is only 30%. And then we have those who have decided but refuse to disclose, who account for 26%. But one interesting difference between what we see here in Lagos versus the presidential election polls we did. In the presidential polls, Labour Party was coming a very good second in the Southwest. But when we come to governorship, it is PDP that's coming second, and not a very good second. So it's almost like saying Governor Sanwo-Olu has a stronger lead in Lagos than Asiwaju, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has overall in the Southwest over the Labour Party. So Sanwo-Olu seems to be almost home and dry, and is enjoying a much wider gap between number 1 and number 2 than what you see in the presidency. The governorship ones, perhaps for those that we think the lead is significant, we might not bother. But again, depending on what we hear, what's going on in various states, we could do a few more or repeat some of the same polls to see whether the trends are holding up.
Now to legal matters. The Supreme Court of Nigeria has fixed November 25 for judgment to determine the validity of the governorship primary election conducted by the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State after the exclusion of Mr. Abubakar Waziri from participating in the election. Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, who led a 5-man panel, set the date after parties in the state adopted their processes. Mr. Waziri, through his counsel, is challenging the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which dismissed his appeal for lacking locus standi, since he did not participate in the Adamawa State PDP governorship primaries, which held in the state on the 23rd of May. Still on legal matters, but outside our shores, Sonia Ekweremadu, daughter of former Deputy President of Senate Ike Ekweremadu, today appeared in court for the first time over alleged organ harvesting. The 25-year-old, who has a kidney-related disease, has now been charged alongside her father, mother, and a London-based doctor, Obinna Obeta, with conspiracy to arrange the travel of another person with a view to exploitation. She appeared at the Central Criminal Court, London, with her mother, who was released on bail in July, while Mr. Ekweremadu and Mr. Obeta joined virtually from prison. The defendants were due to enter their pleas, but this could not take place today because of further legal argument. The trial has, however, been brought forward from May to January 31st, 2023, and is to last for 4 weeks. The Ekweremadus and Mr. Obeta will next appear at the Old Bailey on the 16th or 19th of December this year, when arguments will be heard. We have more stories now. We head over to Abuja studios. Linda Kigbe is standing by. Good to see you, Linda.
Good to see you, Millicent. We begin with the National Assembly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, says the executive position not to pay lecturers for the time spent on strike is premised on the law and government's legitimate interest in preventing moral hazard and discouraging disruptive industrial actions. Mr. Gbajabiamila, however, says interventions have been made to explore the possibility of partial payments to the lecturers. This was contained in a statement signed by the Speaker. According to him, the House is currently working on the 2023 Appropriations Bill, which includes the sum of 170 billion naira to provide a level of increment in the welfare package of university lecturers. The bill also includes an additional 300 billion naira in revitalization funds to improve the infrastructure and operations of federal universities. It says, however, that the House looks forward to a favorable response by President Buhari, and that while implementing meaningful change takes time, and all parties should be patient and grant each other the presumption of goodwill necessary to achieve shared objectives. He further adds the House of Representatives will convene a national summit on tertiary education reform and is calling for papers and memoranda from members of the public. Staying with the lower chamber, members of the House of Representatives from the Niger Delta area are calling for the resignation of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The call follows the address by the minister on the 3rd of November 2022, where she said Bayelsa State was not among the top 10 most affected states by the flood disaster currently ravaging some states in the country. The lawmakers say if she fails to resign, President Buhari should relieve her of her appointment immediately. Meanwhile, the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Mr. Mustafa Ahmed, is faulting the response of some state governments to the flood warnings earlier given by the agency. Speaking during his defense of the agency's 2023 budget before the Senate Committee on Special Duties on Monday, Mr. Ahmed says prior to the 2022 flood disaster, NEMA wrote to all states of the Federation on the need to set up local emergency committees to mitigate the impact of floods. Still ahead on the news at 10, Federal Inland Revenue Service appoints MTN, Airtel and commercial banks to withhold and remit VAT charges to the agency. That's in Business News. Please stay with us.
The Nigerian Breweries PLC has added a new drink to its non-alcoholic portfolio, ZAG. The new addition is a malt-infused energy drink created for everyone who has an active lifestyle. At a media briefing in Lagos, ZAG was announced as its 20th brand.
Guests of Nigerian Brewery PLC anxious to hear the good news that's about to be announced.
A new energy malt drink.
After a while, the waiting ends and the brewing company launches another unique product, ZAG, an energy drink to satisfy the yearnings of consumers and fill the space of what's missing in the market.
We listened to our consumers and we got the feedback that they wanted to have something that was energetic, that was exciting. But what was particularly special about it is something beginning with letter M.
And the fact that my whole lifestyle, my whole routine and everything is centered around energy is something that
There's no other brand I want to affiliate. This one is for us.
The company is all about the joy of true togetherness and creating a better world, hence the bold move to come up with a new product that's beneficial to everyone.
It's a different kind of energy. It's energy that is not just your regular, caffeine, ginseng, taurine, but it has the added benefit of brewed malt from barley. And this gives you the added B vitamin nutrition that, comes with an energy drink. So you're not just getting the energy in terms of, boost, but you're also getting nourishment.
With so many energy drinks already in the market, what makes ZAG stand out?
Health consciousness is at the core front of our business, and I know that there are quite a number of energy drinks in the market. So what we've done is that we have actually said, okay, how can we actually still bring energy but bring an added benefit to the market? So, and that is why we are hitting on the nail on the head with ZAG energy with malt.
We have in ZAG taurine, ginseng, which helps with our alertness, our metabolism, and then the goodness of malt. As a malt beverage producing company, 75 years in the market, we are experts in producing healthy, energizing drinks like ZAG.
ZAG Energy Drink will be available for purchase from Saturday, 5th November 2022 to consumers who are looking to fuel their energy.
It's now time for business news. Here's Anne Wilder.
Thank you, Millicent. Hello and welcome to Business News. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has appointed MTN, Airtel and commercial banks to collect value-added tax charged on all taxable supplies made to them and remit to the agency. In a statement released today, the FIRS says the new policy takes effect from January the 1st next year. The FIRS says the companies are expected to remit the tax that would withhold on or before the 21st day of the month. Immediately following the month, the tax was withheld in the formats prescribed by the service. Meanwhile, the agency mentions that it has put in place adequate measures to ensure prompt payments or refundable input tax under this new arrangement. The governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, has presented a total sum of 139 billion naira as the state's budget for next year. At the presentation of the spending plan to the State Assembly in Abuja-Kaduna, the governor gave highlights of the appropriation bill, which stacked budgets of divine mandate consolidation and continuity.
And the 2022 original budget, and it is aimed at addressing the challenges observed so far in the implementation of 2022 original budget. Kudos to SEFTAS. The policy of 2023 budget. Our mission is to mobilize the human resources in the state to harness all God-given resources to create and use wealth for individual happiness, collective fulfillment, and peaceful cohabitation in an environment of transparent and honest leadership. The state fiscal policy is envisaged to control and enforce compliance with established spending limits to achieve sound budgeting system, which includes aggregate fiscal discipline, allocative efficiency, and effective spending. The budget is also guided by its thrust and the priorities. The fiscal policy thrust is predicated on the following: educational growth, healthcare development, infrastructural development, housing and others, human capital development and job creation, security of lives and property, institutionalization of best practices, consolidation and transition.
We head to the stock market now, where the week ended with mixed sentiments, or it has started with mixed sentiments from high values such as Goregu, Access Core and Zenith Bank, as the local bourse reopened its trading floor for the first time in more than 2 years. Will Ibong tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report.
The second trading week of November at the local stock exchange begin with a flattish close on the day traders resume physical activities on the floor. And that's the first time since 2020. And that's following the reopening since the COVID-19 pandemic. Now look at the key indicators, which are almost unchanged from Friday's closing figures, especially the market capitalization, which ended Monday at 24.112 trillion naira. The all-share index, well, it inched up by just micro percentage points there. Now, in the activity performance, it's quite a dismal picture across board, and this definitely in the red, and it's not surprising since this is just the start of the week. However, the market ended the day with 11 gainers, which was led by Royal Exchange, and 16 losers led by Learn Africa. We're hoping to see a positive close probably tomorrow since physical trading activities have resumed at the NGX, and that's the stock market reports. And Will Ibang is back to you.
And that's Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks, Anne. Still to come on the news at 10. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres asked leaders to either work together now to cut emissions or condemn future generations to climate catastrophe. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres once again warned leaders gathered at the climate summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, that they face a stark choice of either working together now to cut emissions or condemn future generations to climate catastrophe. His speech set the tone as leaders mull over the next 2 weeks how to avert the worst climate change crisis. Simon Pusi has more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The UN Secretary General has told world leaders we are on a highway to climate hell with our foot still on the accelerator.
We are getting dangerously close to the point of no return.
Antonio Guterres told the audience in Egypt that the clock is ticking and that we are in the fight of our lives and we are losing. Guterres called for a universal early warning system within 5 years and for governments to tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies.
This UN climate conference is a reminder that the answer is in our hands. And the clock is ticking. We are in the fight of our lives and we are losing. Greenhouse gas emissions keep growing. Global temperatures keep rising. And our planet is fast approaching tipping points that will make climate chaos irreversible.
French President Emmanuel Macron met with African and French youth representatives engaged in climate-related projects before he attended the COP27 summit in Sharm el-Sheikh. Macron heard out concerns voiced by youth working in agricultural and energy projects. In the discussion, a Gabonese entrepreneur who runs a food production and distribution firm stressed the importance of bolstering support for women. While a young activist who is part of the advisory team to the UN Secretary General said record profits of fossil fuel companies during the energy crisis were crimes against humanity. President Joe Biden and ex-President Donald Trump held dueling rallies as the election to reshape Congress entered its final campaign day. Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump made their last-minute pleas to voters in New York and Florida, respectively. Momentum has shifted recently towards Republicans, who are trying to wrestle both chambers from Democratic control. Polls suggest that Democrats are likely to lose their majority in the House of Representatives. Control of the Senate will probably rely on the results of extremely tight races in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Nevada.
Democracy is literally on the ballot. This is a defining moment for the nation. And we all must speak with one voice regardless of our party. There's no place in America for political violence.
We've seen around the world. When true democracy goes away, people get hurt. It has real consequences. This is not an abstraction.
Just 2 days from now, the people of Florida are going to re-elect
the wonderful, the great friend of mine, Marco Rubio, to the United States Senate. And you're going to re-elect Ron DeSantis as your governor of your state.
A fisherman who was one of the first responders at the site of Sunday's plane crash which killed 19 people in Tanzania's Lake Victoria has described how he tried to save the pilots. Majaliwa Jackson has been officially declared a hero, awarded 1 million Tanzanian shillings and offered a job in the fire and rescue brigade for his efforts. Video footage and images that circulated on social media showed the plane almost fully submerged, with only its green and brown coloured tail visible above the waterline of Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake. Pakistan's Supreme Court has ordered an immediate police investigation into a gun attack which wounded the opposition leader Imran Khan. The former Pakistani Prime Minister says he welcomes the Judicial Commission's investigation into the attack in which he was shot in the leg on Thursday. One person was killed and at least 10 injured in the attack on his convoy. Mr. Khan has accused the current Prime Minister, Interior Minister and an Army General of plotting to assassinate him. All of them deny the allegation. And Apple has warned shoppers to expect delays in receiving its products after a strict COVID lockdown forced the world's largest iPhone factory to shut. The tech giant said its assembly plant in Zhengzhou in China is now operating at a significantly reduced capacity. Officials locked down the district that is home to the factory for 7 days. It comes as China continues to target zero COVID, using lockdowns to tackle even minor outbreaks. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Liverpool FC will have the chance to avenge last season's Champions League final defeat at the hands of Real Madrid after Jurgen Klopp's side were drawn earlier today to face the holders. Yet again, League, Barcelona and Manchester United will face each other in the Europa League knockout round playoffs. The old-French club Nantes in what will be a repeat of the 1996 Champions League semi-final tie won by the Italians. Sevilla will play PSG. In international football, Liverpool's Roberto Firmino was sadly left off the list earlier today as Brazil coach Tite named his World Cup squad, seeking the 6th title with a team led by Neymar and 39-year-old veteran Dani Alves. Juventus and PSG veteran Alves, who signed with Mexican side Pumas in July, made the team despite the fact he has not played a match in 2 months. Or the oldest player ever named to a Brazilian World Cup squad, he will be participating in his 3rd edition of the tournament. And that's Sports News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Tunde. And the main news again. Abuja-Kaduna train route today to come alive again. Minister of Transportation sets November date, and this is coming after 7 months of closure following terrorist attack. Also today, Chief Justice of the Federation warned against acts of recklessness and abuse of power by election tribunals, as INEC chairman said it had been joined in over 600 cases relating to nomination of candidates for the 2023 elections. That's the news at 10 to 9. Thank you for watching.